So, whoever was not a Jew in Germany was an Aryan. You must pay your attention to this connotation. Then, this Iranian influence. In Iran also, this word Aryan has been used in the pages of the literature. They also agree that this word came from the East. So, from the etymological point of view, we must understand that it is an exchange of words and not that of culture. The next point is, I take up the linguistic aspect. You just hear somebody speak Sanskrit or hear somebody read Sanskrit. Watch the pronunciation. How do they pronounce Sanskrit? You hear somebody speak German. How do they pronounce German? The German alphabet and the Sanskrit alphabet, though they resemble in some respects, are not identical. The Sanskrit pronunciation is very far away from the German pronunciation. It should have taken lakhs and lakhs of years of transformation to say that German became Sanskrit. And I don't think there is any historical possibility to prove it. For example, I give you a shloka of Sanskrit. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. This is Sanskrit. Does it sound like German? No, definitely not. Then, coming to the mythological side, every country has its mythology, the spiritual lore, folklore. Germany has its own. India has its Puranas, Itihasas. In the terms of the British, the Indian mythology is there. But Indian mythology is totally different from German mythology. The 33 crores of gods mentioned in Hindu mythology are in no way near those deities or those folklores referred to by the Germans. You just show me a German mythological story which is just nothing but a version of Hindu mythology. No, it cannot be. Then comes the Upanishads of India. They say those Aryans came to India, they wrote the Upanishads, they made themselves prominent. But have you read the Upanishads? Do you know that many scholars of Sanskrit who are not Indians have accepted that perhaps the Upanishads are the best part of human literature? Man has reached his highest in wisdom, in spiritual discovery, in search for his own soul in the Upanishads. The Upanishads deal with Godhead in such a way which is something globally unique. You cannot find an equivalent in any part of the world. And you cannot give a similar resemblance in German language. Is there any book in German which is as great as or as spiritual or as much incited as the Upanishads? I don't think so. Then, the physical appearance, a very basic observation. How does a German or an Iranian look like? A Middle Eastern, how does he look like? What is his physical appearance? A German's eyes will be blue, his hairs won't be as dark as Indian hairs, his upper lip will be a little suppressed, his pronunciation, his intonation, his accent, totally different from the Indian Brahmin. I'll show you the photograph of a famous Aryan. This is a world famous Aryan. You know, Adolf Hitler, the Führer of Germany. Look at his eyes, these blue eyes, not so dark hairs, his suppressed upper lip. and the structure of the face. I will show you an average Indian Brahmin face. Look at this. Look at those lips, the eyes, the hair, the facial structure. What resemblance is there? Do you mean to say that this race is that race? Or this race became that race? Impossible. Biologically, it is impossible. On what grounds do you compare these two races? So, even physically, the idea doesn't go with truth. I give the 9th point now. Now, the mode of speech. An average Brahmin tongue is very supple. It can pronounce very hard alphabets. A Brahmin's Sanskrit pronunciation will tell you that he is capable of pronouncing the hardest accents of the world. He can learn any language. Whereas coming to the German speech, unless a German takes special care, very special care to learn Sanskrit and pronounce it, a normal German tongue is not as flexible and as adaptable and as supple as an Indian Brahmin's. There are certain letters which a normal German cannot pronounce very easily. So, that is from the pronunciation point of view. Then the next point is the mantras chanted by Indian Brahmins. You know the Vedic Mantras. You would have heard about the Gayatri. You would have heard about this Ashtaksharam, Panchaksharam, Shadaksharam, and these Vedic Mantras. Om Indraya Swaha. All these mantras, these mantras are unique to Vedic culture. No such mantras are found in German or Iranian culture. They have their own spiritual background, their own mantras, of course. They are also religious, but they don't resemble these Vedic mantras. That is a very strong point. Then coming to the food habits. Indian Brahmin, Indian Orthodox Brahmin is basically a vegetarian. He doesn't go for the non-vegetarian food. Even among the vegetable kingdom, his Hinduism wants him not to accept a certain kind of vegetables. Say this cauliflower, these carrots, and these western vegetables are to be avoided by a very traditional Orthodox Indian Brahmin. He won't take garlic, he won't take onions. Whereas an average German is basically non-vegetarian. He cannot live totally on vegetarian diet. Some say that Hitler was vegetarian during his latter part of life. He was, not for spiritual reasons, but for medical reasons. His stomach did not accept non-vegetarian food.